Gaius Julius Caesar de Bello Gallico, Episode 14. Ad eas res conficiendas peneum sibisatis esse duxerunt, in tertium annum profectionem lege confirmant, ad eas res conficiendas orgererix delegatur, is sibi legationem ad civitatis suscipit. Here in Book 1 of Caesar's Gallic War, the author continues to explain the conspiracy of Orgererix, the Gallic Helvetian chieftain. Ad eas res conficiendas, for the completion of these matters. Res is the accusative object of ad, its feminine plural and accusative, because the preposition ad takes always and only the accusative. Res, furthermore, is modified by two words, by eas, which is a demonstrative adjective, and by conficiendas, which is a gerundive, a different kind of adjective. The Romans had a strong preference for the passive voice, or we should say the passive voice was by the Romans strongly preferred. So when they wanted to express this idea, they would use the passive. For the preparing or completing conficiendas of these matters, or for these matters to be completed, rather awkwardly. Conficiendas, as I've said, is a gerundive, that is a verbal adjective. It's passive, and it's from the verb conficio, conficere, which is a compound of cum and facio. They decided, duxerunt, that 2 years, biennium, a 2-year period, was adequate, satis esse, for themselves. So in order to complete these preparations, that is, the planting of crops and the procurement of carriages and pack animals so they could migrate, they decided 2 years, biennium, was adequate, sibi. Sibi is masculine, plural, and dative. It is a reflexive pronoun, and so it always refers back to the subject of the verb in whose clause it finds itself. And this is a dative, I would say, of advantage. Duxerunt introduces oratio obliqua, indirect discourse, the subject of which is biennium, the verb is esse, this infinitive, and then satis is the predicate. Therefore, biennium is neuter, singular, and accusative, a period of exactly 2 years. For the 3rd year, in tertium annum, the departure, the profectionem, by law, they fix, they set, confirmant. This is the first conjugation verb, confirmo, confirmare. It's in the 3rd plural, present indicative active, and it means to make strong or to strengthen, confirmo. So they set down their departure by law for the 3rd year in tertium annum. Lege is a feminine singular ablative of means, profectionem a feminine singular accusative, 3rd declension noun profectio, and this is cognate with the verb proficiscor, which means to depart, to set out. It's a deponent verb. Caesar then repeats the same phrase at the beginning of the next sentence, ad eas res conficiendas, for the completion of these matters. It's unclear to me why he uses the same phrase, but no doubt a great deal of academic ink has been spilt. For the completion of these arrangements, orgererix is chosen, delegatur. Orgererix is masculine, singular, and nominative, as the subject of the passive verb delegatur. This suffix rix here, like so, is found on the names of many Gallic chieftains, and it's an honorific title. It's a regal suffix. It is cognate with the Latin rex and the Hindu word raj. They all have the same Indo-European origin, and it means someone who has regal power or authority. We come now to the last portion of this excerpt, which begins with is. He then, meaning orgererix, that's the antecedent of this masculine, singular, and nominative pronoun, he, of his own accord, sibi, by his own initiative, undertakes, suscipit, a legationem, an embassy, to the nearby bodies politic, the nearby states, ad civitates. During his brief reign, Orgererix was able to mint some coins in Gaul, and here is one that survives, the obverse and the reverse, and a portion of his title there.